Hello, and David Morrow welcomes you to Harold Park for the running of the 1985 ABC Pacific Coast Pace. As you can see in the background, it's fairly wet and miserable out here at Harold Park this evening. We did have a respite of about an hour or so of the rain, but earlier on tonight it really did come down in buckets. In fact, it's some of the heaviest rain seen in Sydney for many years, and many people, of course, will remember the floods that Sydney encountered in November last year. Well, the rain tonight was just as heavy at the high point or the low point, depending on how you look at the very heavy flooding last year, and it was very, very dramatic indeed. And in fact, some of the scenes, no doubt, that will be seen on papers and also on television tomorrow with some of the flooding in areas tonight will be quite staggering. Let's go back and have a look, though, at some of the scenes from race one, and there's some of the heavy rain, and that was really after the rain started to lighten off a little bit. It was much heavier. You'll see some of the pools of water around the track, and this race was run almost 10 minutes late because of two false starts. The horses were slipping all over the place. They'd actually checked the mobile barrier to ensure that it was safe to run. Watch a lot of the drivers ducking their head, trying to get as low as possible to get some protection from the heavy rain, and you'll notice that the drivers are starting to really get covered in mud back in the field, and it really was a fairly wet start to the evening. The rain persisted for about an hour or so, and then it's eased off probably for the last hour, and in fact the race will be probably run in fairly dry conditions, although it is starting to sprinkle just a little bit again. And there's a look at the track, and as you can see, it has dried out quite considerably. This track at Harold Park is really quite remarkable for draining. Over the years, we've seen, I think, up to 6 inches of rainfall at the track in the last couple of years, and yet meetings still have managed to continue on because of the magnificent drainage here provided by Bill Small, the course manager, and his wonderful band of merry workers. Well, one of the main horses probably in the event tonight will be Glen's Thunder number 5, and of course Glen's Thunder, one of the outstanding horses. As you can see, some of the punters, of course, trying to get some protection from the rain which is starting to fall again. Glen's Thunder in the last few months here in Sydney has really started to take all before him. He's trained by Vic Frost, of course, who is well known throughout Australia as one of the great harness racing trainer drivers over many years. But Glen's Thunder really has started to go right through the classes in recent months. He's only a 4-year-old, and yet in this campaign he's had just 7 starts. He's had 6 brilliant victories, culminating in a magnificent win last Monday night in the Bankstown Cup. And earlier on tonight, Vic Frost, the trainer driver of Glen's Thunder, was speaking with Peter Wilkins.
Thanks, David. Vic Frost, you haven't got the silks on at the moment, but how do you rate Glen Thunder's chances in the Pacific Coast Pace? 6 wins out of the last 7.
Well, Peter, he's been going very well of late, and he's sort of improved out of all proportion, we sort of feel, and I think everyone would probably agree with that. And we think he'll go very well tonight.
How would you compare Glen Thunder with Area Code, who you had so much success with?
Well, Area Code's a different type of horse. Area Code's a very, very tough stayer, and I sort of feel that Glen's Thunder's not that type of horse. Like Glen's Thunder's a nice little race horse, and whereas Area Code was, he wasn't a good race horse at all.
What are your plans for Glen Thunder after this race? Win, lose or draw?
He's going into the Watts Memorial on Monday night at Fairfield, and after that, well, we're thinking about going to Melbourne with him for the Australian Pacing Championship.
Much improvement left?
Well, that'll be pretty hard to say, really, the way he's been going, Peter, and he's been going very well, and if he sort of holds that form, well, we'll certainly consider taking him down there.
We had a bit of a thunder shower here earlier tonight. Does that affect the Harold Park surface at all? It's looking reasonably good at the moment.
Peter, it does affect the surface. Naturally, the track's going to be a bit slow now, but just looking at the track, it's starting to dry out okay, and it's quite safe. It's very safe, and but it's just a little heavy going, a little bit unpleasant for drivers.
Can you tell us a bit about your plans for the start? Where will you be looking to be, let's say 200 metres after the start?
Well, I hope to be able to come out quick enough to sort of go across to the lead.
And from then?
Oh, well, just try to stay there.
Well, we've got a team of ABC people here tonight. You obviously think Glen Thunder's going to win it. What about the Quinella?
Oh, well, that's pretty hard, and I mean, we just sort of hope we can win.
No dangers to you?
Oh, well, there's always dangers in horse racing, Peter, and I never take the opposition too cheap. My horse is going very well, and he'll be probably the one to beat, but I mean, the race is not over until it's actually over.
Well, good luck. We'll let you go and get the silks on now in preparation.
Thanks very much, Peter.
Vic Frost speaking there with Peter Wilkins, and of course Vic Frost associated with some great horses over the years, and who knows, Glen Thunder might be another one to carry the famous black and white colours to some very, very major victories in major events around Australia. Let's go across and have a look at the tote board, which you can see over there, and have a look at the early tote call at the moment. As you can see, just 8 minutes to go until this year's ABC Pacific Coast Pace, and number 1 is Heroic Fame, trained and driven by young Darren Binskin. Of course, his father, well known throughout Australia, John Binskin, and of course his grandfather, to many harness racing followers will remember the great Jack Binskin. Number 2 is Bayad Boy. Billy Hansel will drive Bayad Boy, and he's almost out to 33 to 1 there, so quite a big price. Deep and Easy, young Warwick Harper. He hails from Dubbo out in the central west of New South Wales, and Deep and Easy has been going very well of late. 2 wins at his 2 most recent starts here at Harold Park, and about a year ago he scored a very good victory over Paleface Bubble. So certainly if there's going to be any failing in the favourite, number 5, Glen Thunder, maybe Deep and Easy will be the one to find it out. Number 4, Welcome Frost, also from the Brian Hancock stable, and his brother Richard will be driving Welcome Frost. He's been in good form this time back. Whether he's quite up to this class, well, we'll wait and find out tonight. Number 5, as you can see there, the favourite, Glen Thunder. He's just a touch of odds on at the moment. I'd still expect him to shorten up quite considerably on that, unless, of course, the punters have shied away with him drawn out in 5, and the fact that maybe he mightn't be able to get across to the fence and lead them as expected. Number 6, Toby Dewan, ran a very good 5th in this year's Inter-Dominion Championship. David Aitken, the trainer-driver, and Toby hasn't quite come back possibly as well as what he did perform in his last campaign. He's been thereabouts, but he has been struggling to find the winner's circle, although he did manage to find it here 3 weeks ago at Harold Park. Number 7, Stylish Guy. I think it'll be very hard for Stylish Guy to win this race tonight. His best performances when he's been allowed to bowl along in front, and he's drawn 7, the awkward inside of the second row. I think the Ross Chisholm would have to be a magician to be able to angle through and get to the lead from there. But should he do so, he's proved in the past that he's a very tough, hard stayer and very hard to run down. Number 8, Not Before Time, is driven by Ross Adams and trained by the great Merv Adams, and Not Before Time, not quite racing up to the standard in which we saw him perform quite creditably about 12 months ago, but still, of course, luck comes his way in a race like this. He's certainly not out of it. Happy Tolliver, trained and driven by the Marvel man, Joe Ilsley, nearing retirement, Joe, and it'd be great to see Happy Tolliver get home and win another feature race for this great man who's been involved, of course, in recent years with some great horses, but the most notable being Double Agent. And number 10, Bundanoon, who won a heat of the Inter-Dominion a couple of years ago in Adelaide. He also won 2 more this year in Melbourne. He's trained and driven by Brian Hancock, and Bundanoon also has a second, in fact, behind Double Agent in the Miracle Mile last year. Bundanoon, he's probably the main danger to Glen Thunder, and also during the evening, Peter Wilkins managed to catch up with Bundanoon's trainer-driver, Brian Hancock.
Hancock, Bundanoon tonight in the ABC Pacific Coast Pace. The chances, what do you think?
Oh, well, Peter, he hasn't drawn the best of value. He's drawn 10, but he's a great old campaigner, and he's done a great job. I think he's won about 240,000, and he's come up very nice. He ran very good at Bankstown on Monday night. I expect a big showing, but the track's very heavy tonight, and I think he run a real good race.
Do you put any sort of extra preparation into a race like this, or just a normal preparation?
Oh, no, it's a prestige race. It's been going, for about 10 years now, I think, and it's a very prestigious race, and you'd like to win these. I think I'm going for my 4th ABC pace, so I'd like to win it, yeah, and you do put a bit of extra effort in it, and and Bundanoon will arise for the occasion, I hope.
Well, that's a pretty good record. What were your other winners? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. I think I won the first one ever on Valiant Girl. She was a bonny mare. She's dead actually now, but she was a great mare. She won the first one. I won it on Bundanoon 2 years ago, and I won it on Jig Adios, so some nice horses have won it. So it's a great race, really. It's sort of built up, and we do get live coverage for this, which is great for harness racing.
Now, what about the Drivers' Premiership? You're only a couple off the lead there. Is that anything to worry about, having won it last year?
Yeah, I won it the last, I think, at 4 out of 5. But not to worry about it, It's some great drivers around, and I'm up thereabouts, and I've got a nice team coming through, so I hope I get there again this year.
Now, what about your plans for Bundanoon? Is it Inter-Dominion this year? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, well, he went to the last 2 Inter-Dominions, and he's won a heat in Adelaide and won 2 heats in Melbourne this year. His long-range forecast is the Inter-Dominion. I think he's getting on a bit. He's 8-year-old, so I'd say this will be his last year at that top level. So I am looking forward to Albion Park, and he'll come to hand good. He had a good spell after Melbourne, and he's just come back now. So around about April, he'll be really firing, I think.
Now, we've had a lot of delays out here at Harold Park. I don't think they were caused by the thunderstorm earlier on, although that wouldn't have helped. But what is the story with these delays with the barrier start?
Yeah, it's mobile racing. We've had a few problems with the trackers in shocking condition tonight, and didn't look like it was going to happen earlier. It's sort of a torrential rain come, as you'd know, and I just think it's one of those nights. It's very unusual. We've had four starts in the first 4 races, but let's hope the night improves, and I think it will. So the people will see some good racing.
From what you've been watching and from being out there, is it just 1 or 2 drivers and horses that are having the problem, or is it really the whole field picking the feet up?
It's just the whole track is in, the track's in great order, but it's just one of those nights. I think the horses know it more than we do. I think they sort of bung these shows on. I think they all know they're on TV and they're bunging these shows on. So, but it'll get better during the night.
Is it a bit of a shock for you when there's all these false starts going back a few years now when they were doing the standing start? Is that a bit of a shock?
Well, Peter, you asked the wrong person, because I'm a complete mobile man. I'm all mobile. I think it's the only way we've got to go, and the sooner we get 10 off the front and a mobile, the better. Bigger track, and that which will come, I think, in time. And I think the people will really appreciate harness racing then to its fullest. So, I just don't want standing starts. I think it's got to be all mobile racing, and the people want it, the public want it coming through the gates. So I think we've just got to go that way, and we're sorting it out, and it's just one of those nights.
Thanks, Brian. Good luck.
Thanks, Peter.
And there's Brian Hancock there, sporting one of the Bell helmets too, you'll notice, which are becoming so accustomed these days for most of the drivers to wear them. Apparently they do afford more protection, and I suppose anything that affords more protection must be good for the industry. And Brian Hancock there with Bundanoon, who's been a great pacer for him over the years. He talked about Jick Adios earlier. Of course, when Jick Adios won this race 3 years ago, he was owned by some connections up in Rockhampton, and I know they'll be watching in with a lot of keen interest tonight, and also many people throughout Queensland, and it's great to have all the Queenslanders and the rest of Australia joining us here at Harold Park for this year's ABC Pacific Coast Pace. And there you'll notice coming around the turn into the straight, 2 of the other favoured ones, the very short priced favourite Glen Thunder there on the inside with the famous Vic Frost colours of white with the black stars and the black cap. Talking about Queenslanders, remember Lucky Creed? He won 24 in a row before Cocky Raider ended that marvellous sequence of victories, and Vic Frost of course drove Lucky Creed to some memorable victories. Well, he's got Glen Thunder, and the other horse that was just coming down the straight there with Glen Thunder as we go out there a little bit wider on the yellow colours there is David Aitken, and that's Toby Duane, who made the final and ran a very good race in the final of this year's Inter Dominion. You may remember he got blocked for a run at a vital stage and finished up running 5th behind that champion Western Australian Preux Chevalier. And I suppose if he does put his best foot forward tonight, he could well be the major testing material for the odds-on favourite Glen Thunder.
Deep and easy by Ed Boy, Glen Thunder. Heroic Fame, Bundanoon about to come along. Club colours on Welcome Frost, the red and green halves.
Totes there yet, Ron?
Happy Tolliver. And moving up as
let's get him in quickly, eh?
Okay, number 7, Kelvy's Carrera, 2.30 a win, 85 a place. Number 8, Special Choice, $2.10. Third, number 5, which is Kelly Carlin, 70 cents. 2.30 and 85, 2.10 for second, 70 for third after race 7. Other details shortly.
They come now. Bayard Boy, Heroic Fame moving up. Toby Jawan, Stylish Guy coming along, not before time. Deep and Easy, Welcome Frost, the gate rolls. Heroic Fame coming up on the inside. Just a slight hold-up still with Bundanoon back there. Gate not rolling at the moment. Bundanoon. Hancock just calling out to the starter to hold proceedings for a moment. Bundanoon, he seems to be right. Bundanoon coming forward again. Clear second favourite in the race, Bundanoon. Good second in the Bankstown Cup on Monday to Glen Thunder. That was only his second run back from a spell, so he should be much fitter for this race as the gate rolls now, and we'll soon have them away for the main event of the night. Bundanoon picking up the line on the second line with Happy Tolliver. And they're all set. Ready? There's the blue light. Racing and going out well deep and easy with Welcome Frost, and Glen Thunder out wide is going fast. Frost is going to look for the lead. They run into the first corner. Welcome Frost just has the lead from Glen Thunder. Deep and easy back on the rail, third, followed by Toby Jawan. And then a gap to Sartorial Elegance, at least Happy Tolliver moving around the outside of Heroic Fame. But he's going to clear them, Frost. And down the back, Glen Thunder races to the lead. A length and a half to Deep and Easy. Welcome Frost trying to get over to the rail from Toby Jawan. And then Heroic Fame, Happy Tolliver, a length to Stylish Guy, Bundanoon. Second last, Not Before Time, and a length and a half last is Bayard Boy. Out of the back straight down, Glenn Sunder has got to a clear-cut lead, and he runs out by a length and a half to Deep and Easy. Toby Jawan going up smartly into third around the outside of Welcome Frost now on the rail. Happy Tolliver tracks Toby Jawan forward, and Bundanoon tracks Happy Tolliver. On the inside of those was Heroic Fame. A length and a half away was Stylish Guy, and they're followed on the outside by Not Before Time, and Bayard Boy was last at the judge. And they've got 2 laps to go, passing the winning post, and Glenn Sunder getting things made to order again in front. He leads out a length and a half to Deep and Easy. Toby Jawan on the outside. A length to Welcome Frost on the inside of Happy Tolliver, 1 out, 1 back. Then Bundanoon. On the inside is Heroic Fame, a length and a half Stylish Guy. Then Not Before Time, and Bayard Boy was last. Up the back, about 1,300 metres to go, and Glenn Sunder is the clear leader. A length and a half to Toby Jawan, forced to race without cover tonight. Neck away, third on the fence, Deep and Easy. 1 out, 1 back, Happy Tolliver. Fifth on the inside is Welcome Frost, a length Bundanoon. And then on the inside is Heroic Fame, a length to Not Before Time. Stylish Guy is second last and starting to pull a bit there, and second last with the on the outside now, Bayard Boy. Not Before Time just up ahead of it as they approach the corner. The bell coming up now, and Glenn Sunder's doing it well again as he comes into the straight for the bell by nearly a length. Toby Jawan second, Deep and Easy third on the back of the leader. 1 out, 1 back is Happy Tolliver. The pace has been pretty solid. Over on the fence running fifth is Welcome Frost, then Bundanoon, who's being driven along at this stage, followed by Heroic Fame, Not Before Time, and Stylish Guy and Bayard Boy are the tail enders. Into the back the last time, and Glenn Sunder at the 600 still defying them clearly. He's a length to Toby Jawan, Deep and Easy, and then Happy Tolliver on the outside from Welcome Frost. Bundanoon being driven along, and then a gap to Heroic Fame, Not Before Time, Bayard Boy and Stylish Guy at the 400, and Glenn Sunder's making them chase him again. He's going for 3 in a row, and he's clear a length to Toby Jawan, Deep and Easy. Bundanoon plugging on around the outside, Happy Tolliver the centre, and then Welcome Frost and a gap to Not Before Time. Coming to the corner though, and Glenn Sunder, Frost looks across, he gives him a little bit more leather. He gets 2 lengths to Bundanoon, Toby Jawan, and then Deep and Easy and Welcome Frost, but it's all Glenn Sunder. Bundanoon goes to a clear second, and then Toby Jawan, but it's Glenn Sunder's well clear. Bundanoon's game, he's making a good race of it, but Glenn Sunder's holding him safely, and Glenn Sunder wins at 3/4 of a length to Bundanoon. Toby Jawan's hung on for third, just in front of Welcome Frost. Then Deep and Easy, Not Before Time, followed in by Bayard Boy. Well back in the field, Happy Tolliver, Heroic Fame, and last was Stylish Guy. Well, it's pretty hard to beat him once he gets to the lead, Glenn Sunder. If you go up and attack him, well, you're just ruining your own chance, because he can just keep running fast sectional times, runs them off their legs, and they just can't get close to him, and that makes it 3 straight, the JPS Cup, the Bankstand Cup, and the Pacific Coast Pace. And Glenn Sunder, he's certainly proving a great money spinner this season for Vic and Margaret Frost. He's won, he's won over $75,000 just this season so far, since August. Glenn Sunder, number 5, to pay 65 and 60 by Granthor from Dotty's Cape. Second, number 10, Bundanoon, a good game run. He just keeps getting to the line, Bundanoon. He'll pay 75. Brian Hancock aboard. He was being driven hard at the bell, but that's Bundanoon. He looks gone at that stage. He just keeps plugging on, and he's got to the line strongly to be beaten just a little bit under a length. And you'll find Toby Jawan has hung on in a photo to get third at $1.40. Well, those 3 paces filled the placings in the Bankstand Cup on Monday night in that order, and they've done exactly the same again, providing Toby Jawan gets his third, of course, which I think he will, just in front of Welcome Frost.
And the selections in straight trifecta order by Kevin Thompson again for the numbers 5, 10 and 6, not official yet. The daily double, when confirmed, Glenn's Thunder with the first leg winner, 4 Smoky Yucca, to return $2.15. Sydney race 7 has time to go.
Bundanoon actually finished second to Glenn Sunder last Monday night in the Bankstand Cup. So he's probably getting sick to death at the rear end of Glenn Sunder this week. Just waiting for the third placing. Won't be too long. I think that Toby Jawan might have lasted, but the longer the photo goes, the more likelihood that Welcome Frost will get the photo as far as these trifecta punters are concerned. And as Vic Frost brings Glenn Thunder back now to the cheers of the crowd, and he's put up another great effort. And this beautiful looking horse, he really is. And you can see there that not that much mud managed to get onto Vic Frost as he had the race in his keeping, a long way from home, being able to lead all the way. of the other drivers who were back in the field are bespattered with mud. Brian Hancock's brought Bundanoon back into the second slot, but this photo for third must be very, very tight. As I said, Toby Dewan had just looked on that very, very slow replay. It looked as if he got it, but it's very tight. Of course, the ABC Pacific Coast Pace, it's a trophy and prize money of $10,000. And there it is. And the director of television for the ABC, Mr. Richard Thomas, will be making the presentation to the owners and connections of Glenn's Thunder. It just happened to be Margaret and Vic Frost. Margaret Frost, Vic Frost's wife, of course, in her own right, a leading trainer-driver. Vic Frost, the trainer-driver, by Grand Thor out of Dotty's Cape, a brown horse, 4 years, and as always happens in big races, when you're stuck for time, there'll be a photo or a protest. Someone once said to me, whenever it's pouring rain and you're at the back of the mulga, waiting to get home somewhere or look for the comfort of a bit of shelter, it'll always be the last race that'll cause the long delay. Well, here at the moment, we're just waiting for this long delay of the photo. Would mean a bit of money too, because both those horses would have been probably the favoured horses to run third in the event, so probably a lot of money here riding on trifectas, with 5, 10 and 4 and 5, 10 and 6 probably being the popular elects in the trifectas right round Australia. That won't surprise me if this is a dead heat, considering the delay. We've seen them here before. Judge still examining the print for third, no sign of that number yet. As you can hear in the background, the judge is still looking at the print. He's having a very, very close examination of it. It is a dead heat for third. There it is, it's a dead heat for third. So here in the ABC Pacific Coast Pace, number 5, Glenn's Thunder, Vic Frost first. Number 10, Bundanoon, Brian Hancock second. Glenn's Thunder, of course, trained and driven by Vic Frost. Second, number 10, Bundanoon, trained and driven by Brian Hancock. And the dead heaters for third, number 4, Welcome Frost, trained by Brian Hancock, driven by his brother, Richard Hancock. The other dead heater, number 6, Toby Duane, trained and driven by David Aiken. And on the New South Wales TAB, the winner will return 65 and 60. That's all. David Morrow for ABC Sport.